Hello, my tech friends. We are quickly diving into the Bank of America because today I've just seen that, oh wow, what's going on? The Bank of America's trading arm helps profits beat expectations. Now, that's the headline here from the Financial Times, and it's stating nation's second largest lender, Bank of America, continues to benefit from higher interest rates. Now, that wouldn't be a headline that normally alarmed me or gripped me, But why has it interested her tech? Because only last week we had a polarizing headline. Bank of America to pay $250 million for overdraft and credit card abuse. Lender, Bank of America, withheld rewards, double dipped on fees, and opened accounts without consent. Where is the alarm? Sounds a bit like a crisis to me. Sounds like a little bit of a concern happening with Bank of America. But whoa, a week later, we've washed that under the rug because now we're profiting from an increase in inflation, are we not? Okay, hold on. It's mind-boggling to me. So let me just dive into the context of this conversation because we've got to keep an eye on this, right? Bank of America will pay $250 million to settle charges over credit card and banking abuses that include opening accounts for consumers without their consent and repeat overdraft fees, right? US financial watchdogs said customers will be reimbursed roughly $100 million and Bank of America will pay another $150 million in fines as part of the settlement announced on Tuesday with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Now, I've just put out a little piece to define what the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is, so go and check that out as well, okay? But for me, this is wild. Like, Bank of America wrongfully withheld credit and card rewards, double dipped on fees, and opened accounts without consent. This is what's been identified, right, by the comptroller. These practices are illegal and undermine customer trust. The comptroller and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will be putting an end to these practices across the banking system. But hold on, let's read a little bit more before I start biting away at this. It has been alleged in the settlement that the Bank of England, the Bank of America, my God, I'm doing a lot, guys, behind the scenes, just bear with me. The Bank of America, as recently as early last year, would charge a $35 overdraft fee numerous times on the same transaction. For example, if a Bank of America customer had signed up for their bank account to be automatically billed a gym membership or a utility bill and they had sufficient funds, the Bank of America would deny the transaction and assess a fee. If the provider resubmitted the transaction before the customer's balance had recovered, Bank of America would charge another fee. The CFPB said the repeat charges were illegal and generated hundreds of millions of dollars in excess fees for the Bank of America. Now, I can't even read this without absolute shock in my speech. My throat chakra can't take this. I can't get the words out. I don't even want to put this content out because now I sound illiterate. Because I'm bamboozled by the fact that whoa. And this is, I can't even carry on. Now, this has only been released on July the 11th, 2023, from Financial Times. Then we shoot over to today. Eight days later. And now we're screaming, oh, it's all right. They're up. Profits increased in the second quarter from a year ago to 7.4 billion. It's fine. We've got nothing to worry about. We want to scream them from the rooftops. But do we? And actually, when I look at something like this, tell me if I'm stupid and uneducated in my attempts to do all of this, because I'm not running this through her tech system as of yet, which is being programmed and built. But listen up. How on earth is this company this bank numerously charging consumers $35 repeatedly with millions of dollars in excess fees? Now, I'm aware that they're paying the penalties, right? And let's just read one more sentence, one more chunk. Bank of America is paying 120 mil in penalties, split equally between the CFPB, so that's the bureaus we've just spoken about, and the comptroller we've just spoken about as well. Videos out on both of them for more insight. Split between the CFPB and the OCC to settle the overdraft charges, right? The CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? I didn't elaborate that earlier. I'll say that now. There is also a piece out on that. Do check that out, right? Also said Bank of America agreed to reimburse customers for 80 million in excess overdraft fees that were identified by the regulator and the Bank of America that they had not previously refunded. Bank of America will take a charge for the settlement in its expenses when it reports second quarter earnings next week. But they're up! Explain to me how they're up! You lot are all up now! Because you... Like, is anyone getting this? People familiar with its plans said, we voluntarily reduced overdraft fees and eliminated all non-sufficient fund fees in 2022. Bank of America said on Tuesday, adding that revenue from these fees has dropped more than 90%. Bank of America settled the disputes without admitting or denying wrongdoing. Yeah, I've got a problem with that. Bank of America has settled all of these disputes and oh my God, we're in the second quarter and we're up. Yes. No. How long's this been going on? And how exactly have you managed to totally admit or deny any wrongdoing in this situation? Who was in charge at the time? How are we making sure this doesn't happen again? And how on earth has this even been possible for us to create such a massive error and then just walk past it and pick up a bag of inflation? Benefits as well. Benefiting. What a convenient window of time this has all occurred as well. The remaining 50 mil of the settlement pertain to credit card rewards for new credit card customers and allegations that Bank of America opened credit cards for clients who had not applied. Mind-boggling. Harming their credit. You're harming users' credit. But we're not singing that next week. Next week we're singing, woo! Second most recognised Bank of America. Yeah, we love you. Well, I would be devastated if you opened a credit card under my name and got me bad credit. Because I can do that all on my own. The CFPB said the bank regularly advertised online cash or reward points for new credit cards, but it did not deliver on those promises for customers who signed up for new accounts over the phone or in person rather than online. It didn't deliver on its promises. What? Who's in charge over here? Who is running Bank of America? then? Brian Moynihan. Brian Moynihan, I'm going to say. We continue to see a healthy US economy that is growing at a slower pace with a resilient job market. All right, Brian. But what's going on with all your teams and how have we let this occur, Brian? What's your net worth, Brian? It's not even high. All right, Brian, you're off. You're all right. You're only at 13 mil. I wouldn't worry. But what's your team doing? How has this occurred? And is there a person being held responsible for all of this or not? I need to study both of these bureaus a lot more and understand what they're doing. That's what I need to do. I need to leave Brian alone. I'm sure he had no idea what was going on, but this is just poor practice. This is poor practice that we're also talking about really, really casually. Like last week that happened. Okay, you know when they use the phrase in the United Kingdom all the time, that's last week's newspaper or whatever you call it. No one cares about last week's newspaper. Well, actually, hermatology do. Hermatology really do care about last week's newspaper. We care about your newspaper from last year. We care about your newspaper from 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, furthermore, because in there's synchronicity and there's thematics and there's findings that let us know that if this has occurred now, it's likely to reoccur in a different form and pop up in a different vessel, but be the exact same variable, the ascending variables. That's why we are building the tech that we're building as well, actually, right? So I'm going to need to look at this a lot more because I don't understand how this has just been so blasé, yeah? One day we're screaming this ain't on and the next week we're screaming, oh, you're up loads of money, it's fine. And everyone's getting their money paid back, fair enough. But what are we doing government-wise to catch that shortfall? Once again, that's a crack in the infrastructure of one of the world's leading banks. Yeah? There's a systematic issue. There's an infrastructure breakdown that has allowed all of this to occur. So, like I always go, who's in charge here? But it's not even about Brian. It's about, whoa, this system that's been in place here, dating back to however long they said that this is occurring, it's shown really, really imbalanced discrepancies, way too large since 2022 this was, to kind of be ignored. So, there's not even enough intel on all of this as well. That's what's also concerning. I need a lot more data on this. This is the second largest settlement that Bank of America has reached with the CFPB over abuses in its credit card division. It paid, did you see what I mean? Look at this now. I didn't even see this before. It paid $727 million in 2014 over the marketing and billing for add-on products and credit monitoring. Has Brian been in place since 2014? How long's he had this job then? Brian, let's have a look at you. Sorry guys, I'm still here. We're in action at this time. Let me have a look here. Just to confirm, this would be ideal to know. I can't see what I want. The data set's crap as well. Guys, I'm not sure how long he's been in this position. I really need to get her text program up and running so I can have all of this at a click up button. It's really annoying me, the tech advancements at this time. It's just like, really, seriously. I mean, I could search it, but I mean, I want it on call, right? Yep, he's been there since 2014. From before that. So, I mean, I don't want to be the mean person all the time, like I'm some kind of evil dictator trying to destroy every single man in power. And obviously I'm a little bit dominatrix, so sidebar, let me play in my cosplay realm. when I want to. But in reality, if we're being genuinely and seriously professional here for a minute, I mean, we've got one incident dating back in 2014, yeah, where we've had over 700 million, yeah, incorrectly managed here. And again now, 2022, we're looking at, okay, it's not the same amount, but it's still too many numbers. I mean, we've got to keep an eye on this, and we've got to be really doing some more in-house checks here. And I've got to truly understand how the CFPB and the OCC are truly systematically putting in brackets and holds in place to make sure that these same issues don't reoccur under different guises. Because if I'm being totally and utterly honest with you, this is a reoccurring issue, and this is starting to represent itself as a thematic error within the corporation. And when you see the same CEO sitting in the seat again, you don't want to say anything negative, because defamation is a real thing, and we would never make any accusations. But as a professional corporation that is designed to look at these things, we go, well, the public ledger is thematically pulling up discrepancies within this corporation, and actually the two times that these incidents have occurred, it has been with the same CEO in place. We could look at it differently if it was two different CEOs as well, and be like, okay, we've got more of a systematic issue here, because even if we've got different figureheads in charge, the same event is still occurring, so it's less likely to be an in-house thing. But if we're looking at this guy, who's probably a lovely stand-up man, who I would never say a negative word on, but we've got to go, okay, so how are you managing your corporation? What is the ethos for your business? And how have you personally managed to make these discrepancies 2 times? Yeah? Who is your team of boards? I would look at all of your closest liaisons. How long they've been in the seat? Have they also all been there since the first incident in 2014? How long before we realised that this was occurring? Was this a glitch on the system? I haven't got all the insight. The insight I really need isn't even available here, because I couldn't care less about the Financial Times journalistic standpoint. Now I want to dig into the deeper background scope of this conversation, which is, well, what systems are you running on, and what tech or code is initiating these repeated transactions, and how long before customers were reimbursed. We obviously can see there's a large percentage that weren't reimbursed. Were they calling in? How much investigation has gone on prior to this release? Because I also find it truly uncomfortable for us to go 1 week, breaking news, overdrafts, abuse over here, and then suddenly flip the script next week and we're up. No worries, we're up over here now. Wouldn't worry. We've just admitted our well, we didn't even admit it. You didn't even admit or deny. Like, how are you even getting away with that? You're the second largest lenders, and now you're screaming how much you're benefiting from higher interest rates. After you just been... I'm not going to get... I was going to use slang terminology. After you've just been really pushing those overdrafts up. You've made a certain percentage of your consumer base go into overdraft. You've personally increased inflation yourselves, guys. And now we're saying, they're benefiting from higher interest rates. Of course they are. They've pushed the market up this way themselves then, haven't they? But once again, defamation's real, so we're not saying that. We're not saying that at all. We're saying the data speaks for itself, and I want this to be looked at, and someone educate me, because I'm a novice.